You're not starting over. This is just chapter 2. And just that simple reframe helped me so much.
And you're not starting from nothing. You're starting from experience.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
We're your favorite psychic sisters, and today we are talking about what happens when life asks you to pivot. Pivot! I say it too much, I'm sorry. A big, scary pivot. So I think a lot of us have felt like at some point in our lives, like something maybe no longer is working anymore. It's not wrong. It's not failing. It's just no longer aligned. And thinking about making that change is terrifying. But if you don't follow that nudge whispering, hey, I think there's something more for you here, you might start to spiral. Those nudges could be ADHD, right, Heidi?
Always.
Or
not always.
Not always. Or it could really be that maybe your higher self does have something more in store for you. And Heidi, you and I have a very big nudge that we've had for a while now that we are going to share at the end of this episode. And
oh my God.
I'm so scared. You're excited to share it and I'm nervous.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Exactly. Although I shouldn't be nervous because a pivot isn't a failure or a breakdown. And that's what we really want to talk about today. It's a recalibration for your next phase. That's how I'm going to look at it.
Yeah. It's just a pivot, man. Just keep going. Just changing trajectory.
Okay. So for people like you, it's no big deal. But people like me, it's like, holy shit, this is terrifying. This is changing my whole life. Even if it's a little pivot.
I mean, you kind of already did your massive pivot when you left architecture. So this is nothing.
Frickin' did. Yes. But I do think a lot of people get these nudges a lot, like I did for years, and ignore it because a pivot looks messy and it can also feel like losing progress. So like you said, Heidi, when I left architecture, it felt like it didn't feel like I was losing all of my credentials, and which for me was losing my worth because society rewards credentials and consistency. So when you're pivoting, that might mean you have to give those things up.
Yeah.
You no longer have the credentials and you're no longer showing up consistently as you have for years, even if you're consistently tired and just dead in your soul.
Yeah.
But to some, that looks like taking a step in the wrong direction, right? So yeah, you're not doing it the way you used to, but the way I'm choosing to see it is that sure, society rewards consistency even when you're dog tired. Actually, especially when you're tired, because I think they like that for some reason.
It's a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor for sure. But our soul, it rewards alignment. So I think in the long run, you're going to feel way more fulfilled if you follow that pivot, that nudge. Now, I am no expert here, but from the pivots that I've had in my life, which also I'm a type A person, so I don't like pivots and I don't want them to show up, but sometimes they do. I feel like, for me at least, they've shown up in 3 different ways. One, it could be that you just, you're going about your daily life and you just feel like something's missing, but you don't know what. Another one could be that you feel really content, but you're getting nudges to try something new. And you're like, why am I getting these nudges? I like my life. Stop it. Leave me alone. Like, why do I want to try that? And then the third one is the universe just makes the change for you. The rhino comes in. You lose your job. You break up with your boyfriend, something like that. It seems like a very difficult hurdle, but you have to pivot because of it. So Heidi, do you have any examples of any of these?
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of living in one right now.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Heidi's in Ireland now, you guys.
Woo! I'm officially here. I'm officially a Dubliner. This is something that came up, last June, and it just came up randomly through my husband's work. But before that, when we moved to Maine 3 years ago, fully anticipating and expecting to stay there through our kids, like going all the way through high school. Cause
Yeah,
we moved a lot growing up. And I always said, I don't want to do that to my kids. I will never move in the middle of a school year. Never say never.
Yeah. It's so funny that you were the one that hated moving and now you're moving your kids. And I was the one that's like, okay, I'll make new friends. And I have stayed here in St. Paul area for years. So,
which, you know, it is weird when you think of it that way too, because I love traveling and I do love change, and I'm a Sagittarius rising. So I love like traveling and like changing life in terms of where you live is very normal and natural for me. But I think as a kid, it shook your world because your friend group is your world, your school is your world. And so doing it in the middle of, for me, third grade, which looking back, I'm like, boo hoo, it was third grade. It was seventh grade for you. So that was, that had been way worse. And I was over here like, oh, woe is me.
You guys, I wore corduroy overalls on my first day with pigtails. Who the fuck wants to be friends with that person? Oh,
yeah, that's a true story. We got to find a picture of that.
Shout out to Amanda who sat next to me at lunch. Thanks, Amanda.
Yep. So anyways, this was a pivot that wasn't expecting. Like everything was very comfortable in Maine. I was very happy to be there and was starting to develop a community there. Yeah. And then this kind of came up out of nowhere, but it was obvious that I had to jump on it. And we had to do this because, I mean, to say no to an opportunity where a company will help you move across the ocean. We just couldn't say no to that. So,
although, you mean, if you were not married to Kent, do you think Kent would have responded to that email?
That's a great question. I don't think so, because
not everybody would jump on that idea.
No.
You know, that is kind of scary.
Yeah, I think, he even said if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have left Minnesota. Like Minnesota was his massive move. He moved 3 hours from his hometown in Iowa.
Hey, that's big. That's a big deal to the big city.
But again, that was his big move. That was out of his comfort zone. So no, I don't think he probably would have jumped on that opportunity. Definitely not as fast. Maybe, I mean, who knows at this point, but
he's still happy we're doing it, by the way. I shouldn't make it sound like, oh, Kent, no, you're like dragging him along.
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know if I've said this before, but I was shocked at when he first told me this. And he said, hey, my company asked if anybody would be interested in moving to Ireland. And of course, my immediate reaction is, you said yes, right? But in my head, in this nanosecond, in my head, I'm like, he's probably going to overanalyze it. And he's probably going to be like, oh, I don't know. I need more time to think. We have kids and all that stuff and logistics. And he surprised me by like a second later being like, yeah, I think that'd be a really fun opportunity. And I was like, oh shit, look at you growing, man. Like,
cool.
Just awesome. So he loves it here. And we've only been here a week and a half-ish now.
Hence your empty room. And
hence my empty room. I will not have furniture for another month and a half or so.
It's on a ship.
I apologize for the echo. But yeah, he I think needs to, even though he's an introvert, I think going into an office is really good for people and having connection and not just like sitting in a room by yourself all the time on Zoom videos.
That's what we do every day.
Well, but for some reason it feels like our energies. Also, we have our video on. They never had their fucking video on. Like it would be like they're just talking to like weird blank screens. And you guys, you can't do that. You need to turn on your video. And then he said he would turn on his video, but he'd be the only one. I'm like, you got a bunch of actuaries, right? Like they're just all, don't look at me. I want to be a hermit.
Yeah, I feel like there's something psychologically going on there when you're talking to a blank screen. That's kind of messed
it's
up.
Not right. You're not supposed to do that. I feel like I'm in the room with you.
Yes. Oh, you're done?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I just didn't know if you had more to your pivot. Sorry, I took over.
That was one pivot that I think went on a long time.
That was a huge fucking pivot. And that's awesome.
It was.
And you're still in the middle of it. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
Keep us posted.
I shall. My Instagram blowing up.
I feel like with my journey of leaving architecture, I did have those three different ways that pivots show up. I had like the nudge, the knock, and the rhino. If you've listened to our episode with Carly Ashworth, she talks about the nudge, the knock, and the rhino. Basically, I had little hints here and there. I got the feeling for, maybe even since COVID that I feel like something's missing in architecture. I love it, but something was missing. But then I found a new job, a new firm actually, and I absolutely love the firm. I could see myself working there till I retired. I loved the people.
Blech. Sorry.
Oh, I'm like, what? No,
that's just not for me. I can't.
You're not a work till you retire kind of girl. No, I get it.
Yeah, corporate.
That made me feel safe. I love that. I'm like, I can be here. I can have a 401k and I can retire maybe when I'm 70. But I loved the people. I loved the firm. I hated the industry expectations, but I thought it was manageable enough. So then I was getting more nudges, but these were like knocks. I was getting them in the form of physical ailments. So when I had to wear a heart monitor for a month to check, because I might have had a little mini heart attack at, 30, no big deal.
Yeah. Not okay, sis. Not okay.
So that was my nudges. I'm like, maybe this isn't the lifestyle that I need. But no. This is what everybody else is doing. I can handle it.
Yeah, sure. Staying up till 2 a.m. and then waking up at 5 because that's normal.
Well, I told myself, it's only once or twice a week. It's no big deal. Anyway,
no.
I kept pushing through. I'm like, it's fine. I kept climbing the ladder. I made it to associate. Everything was great. But finally reached a point where it wasn't just my health and my daughter's health came just bowling in like a rhino, like, oh, nope, something's going on here. So I put my health on hold for years, no big deal. But when it comes to your own daughter, that's a big no. And so that was the moment for me where I'm like, this isn't right. I need to be able to focus on my daughter's health because we were doing doctor's appointments, therapy appointments multiple times a week, taking her out of school. The school was like, I don't know if she's actually going to be going into the next grade next year, moving up because she's missed so much. It was a lot. It was a lot going on. So that was my big rhino. And that was also, that allowed me to just be like, okay, Elise, step away from architecture, at least for a little bit to see what happens. And we had also had this plan of having our podcast. So that was my nudge, knock, and rhino moment. But of course, I probably never would have left and discovered how much I love this growth had I not had all of those moments. For some people, all they need is the nudge. For me, I needed nudge, knock, and rhino. I'm like, damn it.
That's the Scorpio in you. You need a tower moment.
I do. I need multiple tower moments for me to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
If you're not going to take the leap, the universe will make you.
Yep. But this has been so good. But enough of that. Heidi, should we talk about our big announcement for the pivot that we have in our business?
I believe it's time. Yeah,
I think you should say it because I'm too nervous.
Should I drum roll it first?
Drum roll.
We are rebranding our podcast. What does that even mean? So, as we've been working on this podcast for the last little over a year, we have had so much fun diving into so many different topics on self-worth, intuition, psychic moments, past lives, all these different things. And while it has been amazingly fun, and we've got to interview so many brilliant minds and amazing women and men, sorry, I should say, and men, what we have found that we really, really enjoy is when we are going into more of like the woo, more of the psychic moments, more of the learning of spiritual growth and our own spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And so we are going to rebrand.
Not just rebrand. We are going to make a whole new podcast, by the way.
You're going to make a whole new podcast, guys. And it is called Psychic Sister Tea. What? We are going to be spilling the tea on all things spirituality, psychic development, and sharing your stories, just like we've kind of already been doing. So we're going to have topics just like we've been doing, but they're going to be a little more niched. And then we're going to be sharing your stories and then our stories. But the really fun thing is we're going to also be having mini intuitive lessons in every single episode. So you can do it with us. And we are still practicing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a muscle, right? Intuition is a muscle and being psychic is a skill that you need to work on. So we're working on that with you and you can participate and it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's still us. It's still going to be our same sister banter, but we are excited about moving from the broad self-help category because we don't really feel like we're experts in that, obviously.
Oh, fuck no.
And then we're going to move to a more niched, focused on very much on just intuition and psychic abilities and psychic development. Because we, as we've been saying, we believe everyone has these abilities. It's going to be really fun honing our intuitive abilities together and talking about psychic stories and spiritual stories and divine intervention. Keep sending us your stories because we love them and we are going to keep reading them. But we are going full woo-woo, ladies, which is crazy because when we first started this, I think we wanted to go woo, but we were a little nervous, right? So we're like, no, let's just keep it broad. Let's still talk about self-worth because I don't want, my coworkers to think that I'm a crazy lady. Well, you know what? It's time for us to own it.
Fly the freak flag, baby. Let's go.
Fly it. Fly it. Who fucking cares?
Also, to be fair, a year, like when we started this over a year ago, I didn't even know that I had any sort of, I knew that I was like intuitive, but I didn't know that I had the ability to tap into loved ones who have passed as well too. So that didn't happen until August of last year. So we'll definitely get into all that and how that transpired and came to be. But I think now that we're both fully in it and we are doing mediumship readings, we have a membership where we teach people how to tap in and we practice this together. This is going to give you a little taste of what it's like to be in our membership too, where we're practicing. Also, we're going to get cute little mugs.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay, so homework for you. If you still want to hang out with us, we would love for you to keep following us. So wherever you are listening now, go search for Psychic Sister T. We just dropped our trailer. Go listen to it. We'll also have it at the end of this episode if you want to listen to it there too. But we will start releasing new episodes on June 18th, the week of the summer solstice. So big energy week time for big changes, guys.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It's kind of funny how this all happened too. I kind of want to talk about the nudges we received to do this because some people may be thinking, well, why the frick do you want to change it? It's going to be some similar basically to what you have now. Just change the name if you want to. No, we've been having this nudge for a while. And trust me, we've asked our spirit guides many times for confirmation. I did anyway. But I think even at the very beginning, there was something about the name. We felt comfortable with trust yourself, obviously, because that's what we need you to do. But something deep
also, I feel like
inside
it
me.
was us. Like we needed to trust ourselves
Oh,
too. So we were telling ourselves, trust yourself and just do this.
Yeah. But something deep inside me was saying, this name will change. And I'm like, what? No, I'm not.
Which is funny because you never told me that, but okay.
I never did. I kept it to myself because you had this thought like, oh, trust yourself. That's great. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to make her feel bad. Like, I don't like the name.
What the fuck? Sis,
I know.
Like,
I know. I'm so
now
stupid.
you know. Now you know.
I know.
But even for me, I remember like with the name, like naming was almost the hardest thing.
It was.
And at the beginning, I think we even brought up the name like Psychic Sisters. And we were just like, ooh, what if it's Psychic Sisters? And I think we Googled it and there was already Psychic Sisters just in general.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember what it was, but also I don't think that we were fully attached to the word psychic because we're still a little scared of it.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a psychic, even though I knew I could do those things. I was like, oh, no. I'm an architect. Yeah. I don't say that word.
But I am now.
Yes. So it's so funny because it was a couple months ago, we were having our weekly meeting and I wasn't even going to bring it up. It was at the very end of our meeting. Remember, Heidi? And I'm like, hey, this is probably silly, but I just gotta say it. I've been getting a strong nudge that we need to narrow our focus on our podcast and maybe change the name. And you were like, oh my God, I was just this morning talking to Kent about that. Like, oh, okay, well then this had to happen.
Yeah. It was literally like, I remember it vividly that morning in the kitchen. I was listening to our episode that I just aired that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, something just feels a little too broad here. And I also didn't want to say it because I'm like, oh, we've been working so hard on this. And it's fun to do a bunch of different things, but it just felt like sometimes it was getting a little too broad and I wanted to bring it back in.
And we had a lot going on. I did a little report from what was happening in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because we just like to talk about things that matter to us, but we're realizing that we can still talk about those things, but I'd love to focus on the subject that we are actually building our brand off of, building our business, which is intuitive and psychic development. So it really means so much to us because we totally think the way our world is moving right now, we need to work on honing those abilities because we need discernment like a motherfucker. You need to be able to trust yourself. You need to be able to pick up on things that maybe the words are saying one thing, but the energy is saying something else. And we all know what that's like. So of course, once we made this decision, we're like, okay, yes, I think this does have to happen. Then I asked for signier signs from the universe. I was like, I wavered every day between like, okay, universe, I'm not sure. Show me a sign. I don't know. And I get like a sign plain as day. And then the next day I'm like, why don't you show me any clear signs?
You of course, whiny bitch.
I'm so whiny. But you know what? My favorite thing was that I was to the point where I'm like, fine, screw it. I just want to hear an exact phrase. I want to hear a phrase that if we're supposed to start this new podcast, say it for me. Like do it on the radio or something. So I was listening to some songs and 10 minutes later, as I'm driving home, that phrase showed up in the title of one of my songs I was listening to. And if that wasn't enough for my signier sign ass, later that afternoon, we had a client meeting and one of our clients, she said the phrase to me as we were doing an intuitive practice. She just said, oh, I see this and I think it means this. She said the phrase I was looking for. And I'm like, well, okay, that sealed the deal for me.
We're making a new podcast. Okay.
So please join us and stay along with us. Stay along with us. Stay with us. Stay
alive.
So whiny.
Stay alive.
God. Okay. One thing I do want to bring up though, Heidi, and this has happened multiple times that every time I have a pivot, are these tests during the transition. Like it kind of feels like the universe is testing you. I don't like that phrase, but you know, when you're in the middle of a pivot and then there's this like strange moment where all of a sudden everything you're about to leave behind starts actually working or
better
being better. Yeah. You're like, oh shit. Like, wait a second. Why do I want to leave?
It feels
this?
like a test. I call it a test. And it's like the universe being like, okay, is that really what you want to do? And then it's almost like testing if you waver or testing if that's really what you want. But with this specific thing, it kind of felt like a test, but not a test at the same time because it felt like it was just showing us whether you choose to change it or not, like good things are happening anyways. Yeah. So it felt more of like a premonition of what's to come.
That's true. So what happened to us was that as we decided to make this change, all of a sudden our Trust Yourself podcast started taking off and like, what the fuck?
Of course
we're getting more clients. And part of me is like, wait, this is actually working. It kind of reminds me of if somebody decides to like leave their boyfriend and then all of a sudden their boyfriend starts showing up and coming back and saying, no, I can be good. And you're like, oh, okay. One of those things like, wait, but it's working now. So I don't want to leave. But I think in that moment, that's when I realized it's where you have to get really honest with yourself and ask yourself, okay, fine. If you want to stay, keep doing what you want to do instead of follow the nudge. Are you staying because it's finally getting good, or are you staying because it's still truly aligned? And I think growth is asking you to choose yourself even when the old path starts rewarding you again, which is really fucking hard to do.
That's a really good way to put it though.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So if you are thinking about something that's been nudging you lately that you're just not feeling aligned anymore, or maybe you're just trying to avoid this and put it on a later date, I think this should be your sign. If it's not a sign your side, this should be your sign. You should at least dip your toe into it. See what would happen. You can always make a backup plan, but I think the universe will help you figure it out. It might not look like what you've imagined, but the universe will always find a way to bring incredible people and opportunities into your path just when you need them. And it's going to send you guidance and nudges in all forms. Yes, it'll be scary. Yes, it'll feel like you're starting from zero again. But I'll tell you what my husband told me when I freaked out about starting over again. Mm-hmm. You're not starting over. This is just chapter 2. And just that simple reframe helped me so much.
I like that one. And you're not starting from nothing. You're starting from experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the two that, I mean, especially with the chapter 1 too, because you've probably all seen one of those memes that's like, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you get to chapter 20? Well, you have to then go to chapter 2. So that makes sense too.
The phrase that you said where, you're starting from experience, that one, I get it, but it bugged me because my experience was only in architecture and I only saw it as black and white. Like, well, I can't bring architecture into intuition. There's nothing about that that's similar. And now I'm like, as I'm turning into the gray area girly, I am realizing that it's just creativity, intuition. It's all the same thing. And we need to be aligned in order to create. And how ironic that I was in probably one of the most creative fields you could be in. And yet I felt such a lack of creativity. I didn't feel connected to my intuition.
Yeah. And for me, I always said, I am not a creative person. I'm not creative because I associated creativity with artistic abilities.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, because I can't draw, I'm not creative. But that's fucking bullshit. So don't let anybody say that you're not creative if you can't draw.
Oh, look at us. We got 2 lessons in one today.
So much growth.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
It's almost like we've been doing this for a while now.
I know. Well, I do want to say thank you to you, listener, for following us along this journey. If you want to end here, I fully understand. But if you want to keep following us, please don't forget to go find Psychic Sister T wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube and follow us again. We're going to start over. I mean, no, we're going to start from experience.
We're going to start from experience. And the tea is going to be hot, guys. We are going to share all the hot goss of what it's like to do what we're doing, because we're also going to share like the not so great stuff of like when we feel like we're blocked too, because that's real life. Well, it must be gone. I'm not intuitive anymore. I'm not psychic. I can't tap into anything anymore because I feel like I've got nothing.
The gift was here for a day and now it's gone.
Yeah. Somebody revoked my gift.
I'm a sinner. What is happening? Okay.
Going off the rails.
Heidi, did you bring your tarot cards with you or did those get stuck on the ship to Ireland?
I bought so many new decks when I bought
that's right. Can we do a new Irish deck?
Yeah. Let me go get my new Irish deck. One sec, which is going to be like literally a millisecond for you because of the magic of editing. Hold on. This is my new deck. I'll show it to you. It's called Tarot Familiars, and it's got a cute little black cat on it.
That's so cute.
And I've got a black cat. I know. It does look like Licky Doo. So obviously I had to get it. So what do we need to know for this week? Pivoting. Pivot big. Oh, there we go. Knight of Swords, bravery, skill, opposition, and war, heroic action, and capacity. I feel like it's just like that charging forward energy. Usually I feel like the Knight of Swords is usually depicted as a knight on a horse with like one sword, like charging forward. But this is just different because it's 2 crows. But intuitively, I'll give you my read. It feels more just like taking that leap of faith. I know it's not the Fool, which is all about the leap of faith, but it's more of just like charging forward anyways, cutting through all of the mental chatter that's trying to trip you up and being like logical thinking and trying to cut that out and be like, you know what? I don't care if this isn't the logical choice. This is what I'm going to do because it feels right. and just doing it anyway. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyways. And I'm not going to lie, this is kind of a creepy looking card to me. But it's like that crow is staring at you like, I'm going to eat you.
It's a raven though, right? 2 ravens?
It's hard to tell because ravens are just bigger than crows, and it's hard to tell when it's just
well, let's call them ravens because
call them
in
raven.
spirituality, ravens are all about transformation and deep insight, mystery, wisdom. So using your wisdom to cut through the shit and just go ahead anyway. Oh, look at me interpreting tarot cards.
Get that mental clarity out, which it does make sense when you're pivoting because you're going to be like bogged down with all this mental chatter. And this is definitely just the sign to cut through that bullshit and do it anyways. Just keep going forward bravely.
Not just mental chatter too. I think also other people's opinions. Cut through that shit. Because if I listened to what everybody said, I wouldn't be here. Stick around for the trailer at the end of this episode or go check it out on Psychic Sister T. And Heidi, this is the last time we're going to say this. But
oh, good. I can't.
Until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye.
Bye.
Sis, have you heard the secret?
Oh, do you have tea?
Yeah, you're psychic. We all are.
Well, it's about time we talk about this openly and without shame. Hi, I'm Elise.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
And we're your favorite psychic sisters, here to share our stories of everyday women experiencing extraordinary events. And wait right there. If you think this ability is for some special chosen few, sit your ass back down. I used to be an architect designing schools for a living, but secretly, I could also chat with your deceased grandma over tea.
And I used to work the night shift as a nurse, but I can also see what's going on energetically in your body, mind, and soul. So yeah, these gifts don't have a type. We can all do this. It just takes practice.
And that's why we're here. Every week, we're spilling the tea on spirits, intuition, past lives, alien encounters, and all the woo topics that the world loves to dismiss. And we also help you practice honing your own intuitive gifts.
Plus, we share your stories. Real women, real moments that give them full body chills.
Goosies! And our dad was a pastor, so we know how important it is to create a safe space. No judgment, no eye rolls, just sisters gathering around the tea for some hot psychic gossip.
So grab your favorite mug, get cozy, and sit down with us to talk about the shit you can't share with anyone else.
Except your psychic sisters.
Come on in, the tea is hot.